Well, I'm not sure yet, but I just want to be able to help somehow.
I guess I still don't know. I have some things listed out like engineer, doctor, just some basic stuff.
When I grow up, I want to be a zoologist.
I want to be a CEO of a business and management company.
Possibly music production. That would be my dream job if I could, but it's a hard industry to get into.
If we're not learning it here, how are jobs gonna try to hire us,
Will I know how to do it? Will I be able to figure it out?
Will I be ready?
I want to be ready for the future.
Welcome to the future. It's happening right now. This space is all about collaboration and bringing independent businesses together in one environment.
And what we do is put digital content up on a television, and it's called digital signage. Like what I'm doing now was impossible just 15, 20 years ago.
So with Fashion Denver, what I do is work to bring our local fashion community together.
I'm using this new publishing technique where I'm actually already selling the book. It's only 75% done, but I'm already selling the book. So
whether it's designers and manufacturers.
About a new JavaScript framework that helps developers build really interactive and rich web applications.
It's been amazing to see how our passions can come together, even though we may be doing extremely different things.
So I do music, movies, and marketing, which is nice because I do things that I really love to do, so all of them seem really important.
We're giving creative license to come up with things that we think add value to the rest of the world.
And seeing how people are working and the environments in which they work was mind-blowing to me. I'm like, wow, this is so different than the experience that I might even have in the work that I do, let alone maybe the experiences we're creating for our students.
A lot of people in this space are moving at a much quicker clip. They might start new companies and run them for a couple of years. They might do some consulting for a while. And so there's just that sort of structure is no longer there.
We know as professionals, as adults, that not everything's graded, right? Not everything fits into some fancy rubric, right? But it's those personal qualities, it's your drive, it's not being afraid of failure, that's what great professionals do. They're learning all the time.
I would find somebody, get in front of them and ask them as many questions as I could and be really self-motivated to do that. Nowadays, I dive deep into the interweb and find out exactly what I need to do.
They're running towards what's the next thing. They know that whatever they're working on is going to change. They expect it.
But for the most part, that was one of the more difficult things to figure out, was my own curriculum, so to speak.
There's a lot of research and a lot of details that I need to focus on, and in school I didn't really realize I would need those kind of skills.
This is how people work nowadays. These are the challenges that they're facing, and we can begin to tweak our environments and create challenges for our students that are similar so that they begin to develop the skills necessary to find success in such a different, changed, modern environment.
And we really want to instill in our students what this is about, to be independent thinkers, to be really critically thinking and problem solving in this world where a lot of what they do is self-directed, but also they don't lose the relationship piece with the school.
When I'm in APS Online, the site, I experience independence the whole day. So from 8 till 3, it's completely independent. If I have any questions, I can ask any questions. But other than that,
I love the idea that students get to manage their time. Choose the classes they want, what they want to work on in which order.
It's flexible, and I need flexibility in my life.
Here, we have to be self-motivated, and we have to figure out what we have to do, and we have to stay on schedule.
Hugely self-directed.
So that's my favorite part of the job, is you don't have somebody telling you what to do.
Being self-motivated and being able to keep up with my schedule, because I don't have somebody who's telling me what I need to do. It's up to me.
So it's all self-directed. I have this giant project, right, which is writing a book.
They have a lot of independence in what sort of result or outcome they have in each class.
All of it is really open-ended, so we can all use our creativity and do what we feel would be really cool. We kind of had a sumo wrestling thing, and the robots kind of wrestled wrestle with each other.
The kids are very engaged during a makerspace because they get to do new things. They get to try new things. They will start asking questions. They will want to try something new because it's their choice.
What I ended up doing was just coming up with projects that were very relevant to me, and then learned whatever tools or tricks of the trade I had to get those projects done.
One of the first things, the very first week, everyone said was, well, we don't know any of this. Well, that's great. You have to kind of figure it out and work from there.
Because you're all in the same boat. You guys all need to work together, collaborate, because if you're not, then you're all just gonna sink the boat, you know what I mean? You know, who do I talk to instead of the teacher, you know? That's weird, it's different.
I've got two main focused classes. One is on cybersecurity, and then the other is the tech interns. But what's exciting is that they're learning how to learn. They're learning what skills it takes to be able to learn new language.
The whole programming thing, it's like learning another language. Like if I was to learn like Spanish or German,
I have learned how to get groups of people to do what I need them to do, how to organize them and have them work on specific tasks.
We kind of think about like, are we there yet? And we maybe have to rephrase that and think, there isn't there, what process are we engaged in that's helping to transform? And what steps are we taking?
A lot of our project-based experiences are really in their own community.
They're 10 and 11-year-olds, you know, worrying about energy conservation and knowing what that word means and can use it in context is pretty cool.
We turned our printers off, and we also like unplugged things in the teacher's lounge.
It doesn't matter if we mess up, it actually benefits if we do, because what we're going to do is keep trying it, reflect on it, keep trying it, reflect on it, learn from it.
We just restarted it, like turned it off, turned it back on, program, erase all the programming and do it again.
That's exactly what happens all the time. There's a problem or a goal that has to be solved. Sometimes it's the big picture, sometimes it's the emergency of the day.
And when I was young, kids went to college. You know, that was your plan. And I think nowadays, more than anything, kids have huge, huge horizon of opportunities that we didn't when we were young.
The students are able to say, this is what I want to do with my life, how can you help me? And so with this environment, we're also helping students to develop their own plan.
Your options and your ability to become anything you want, I think is 1,000 times more possible because of what's happening. And you're going to see it in places where the kids don't have anything and they want it.
Thinking about transformation and how daunting that may seem, it could be scary. It's like, where do you get started and how do I get started? What do I do? And
sure, it can happen anywhere. I mean, it's a skill versus will argument. I think it's more of the will. If we have the will and we're willing to change and we're willing to look at our practices critically and think differently, we can do anything.
If it's really hard to do, that's usually what has to be done first.
Well, I think you have to be open to doing things differently, which means you're going to have people in your environment that I call the active ingredient.
We actually have the resources right around us if we're able to identify what our assets are, what our needs are, and make these connections. We can actually make big changes in little ways.
You want to identify who those people are and see if there's some way to inspire them to reignite that fire that they had. You know, some of those people seem like they're very critical, but they're not really critical. They're problem solvers. They see a huge problem, they want to solve it, and many times they feel as though you're not welcoming my critique. You don't see my critique as a positive thing. You see me as a squeaky wheel rather than an opportunity.
If I can feel safe at school early on, knowing that I may make mistakes and really I should make mistakes because that's important.
And if we're going to help our kids be future ready, we've got to be vulnerable. We have to take risks. If we expect them to be vulnerable, take risks.
We're just exploring with it. We're trying some things out.
There is the piece of reaching out to somebody and saying, you know what, I don't necessarily know how to do this. I'm not sure maybe how to get started, because that's a certain level of vulnerability that not everybody is completely comfortable with that first. But
this is a process. We don't have it down yet.
We're asking the same questions.
But we are definitely working together to create an environment and to create a place where students can be successful.
Will I be ready?
Will you help me to be ready?
Will I be ready for the future? I'm ready for the future.